Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I just came in from outside. Alex is on his way home. Boo Radley was running around the yard. Thank God, he is doing so much better. And he was running around and sniffing and stuff. Just got him a treat. And so I thought, before I go into my vlog, when Alex comes home, I'm gonna go outside and vlog. So I thought, let's end September on one last meditation. How are you guys doing today? Tomorrow is October 1st. I'm sad that summer now officially really feels over to me. And I'm sad about that. And I'm now counting down the days till the pool opens next year and when summer comes around next year. But I am excited about October, and I'm excited about the fall spooky weather, and I'm excited about the holiday season coming up. And so I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm really excited about it. So I thought that we would go in here today and read the last meditation for September. Let's see what it is. I haven't read the last couple ones. So let's go in here and see what today's is. And this might be a good one, actually. Yesterday's was the importance of money. Then it was prayer. Then temporary setbacks. But today's is called Not a Victim. So let's read about this one. Okay, Not a Victim, September 30th. You are not a victim. How deeply ingrained our self-image as a victim can be. How habitual are feelings of misery and helplessness. Victimization can be like a gray cloak that surrounds us, both attracting that which will victimize us and causing us to generate the feelings of victimization. Victimization can be so habitual that we may feel victimized even by the good things that happen to us. Got a new car? Yes, we sigh, but it doesn't run as well as I expected, and after all, it costs so much. You've got such a nice family. Yes, we sigh, but there are problems, and we've had such hard times. Well, your career certainly is going well. We sigh, but there is such a price to pay for success, all that extra paperwork. I have learned that if we set our mind to it, we have an incredible, almost awesome ability to find misery in any situation, even the most wonderful of circumstances. Shoulders bent, head down, we shuffle through life, taking our blows. Be done with it. Take off the gray cloak of despair, negativity, and victimization. Hurl it. Let it blow away in the wind. We are not victims. We may have been victimized. We may have allowed ourselves to be victimized. We may have sought out, created, or recreated situations that victimized us. But we are not victims. We can stand in our power. We do not have to allow ourselves to be victimized. We do not have to let others victimize us. We do not have to seek out misery in either the most miserable or the best situations. We are free to stand in the glow of self-responsibility, set a boundary, deal with the anger, tell someone no, or stop that. Walk away from a relationship. Ask for what you need. Make choices and take responsibility for them. Explore options. Give yourself what you need. Stand up straight. Head up and claim your power. Claim responsibility for yourself and learn to enjoy what's good. Today, I will refuse to think, talk, speak, or act like a victim. Instead, I will joyfully claim responsibility for myself and focus on what's good and right in my life. I love this meditation. I need to dog ear this one to remind myself of this. You know, victimizing ourselves is something that I talk about quite a bit over on this channel. And every time I do, I always get like a DM from somebody or a comment from somebody that kind of like misunderstands what I'm saying, and they'll say, but you don't know what I've gone through, and I've gone through like really, really hard times. You know, this is the thing that I've had to learn in life. No matter, and this is the hard reality, okay? No matter what you've gone through or what you're currently going through, and for any of those of you out there that are going through really tough times right now, I'm sending lots of prayers, lots of love and positivity to you. One of the things that helps me going through tough times recently, I'd say this is a lesson I probably learned in the last couple years, and I say this a lot when people reach out to me, like in cameos and things like that, is that I will look back on more difficult times that I didn't think that I could make it through in the past and realize that I did make it through those times and that I'm here today. I love the saying that, you know, the sun shall shine again and this too shall pass. And that's the truth, that this too shall pass. And what you're going through right now, no matter how hard it is, how difficult it is, you will make it through this. You will make it to the other side. In fact, you will make it through to the other side to see good times, but you will also make it through to the other side to see tougher times, you know? And then you'll look back on what you're going through right now and you'll say, God, I thought that was bad. This is even worse. And that's life, right? But whatever you're going through right now, or whatever you've been through in your life, there is another human being out there that has gone through so much more than you have. And that's where I find gratitude, that whatever I'm going through or whatever I've gone through, there's always somebody out there that's going through or has gone through so much worse than I have, than I am or I have, right? And that kind of keeps me a little bit balanced. But whenever I talk about making ourselves a victim or victimizing ourselves, like I said, I always get at least reached out to like by one person. They're like, but you don't understand, like I've been through such hard times, and you know, there's a lot that I've never talked about on video that's, you know, happened to me in my childhood and things like that. There's a lot that I've never talked about in my life, things that have happened to me, horrific things that happened during my using that I never talked about, that I haven't talked about. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll feel more comfortable sharing those things, but I'm not, you know, there are things that my family and my friends know, and that I talk about with my sponsor, my therapist, that I have. But, you know, there's a lot of things I've gone through too. I think that, you know, I had a friend of mine, and she had breast cancer for several years, and she passed away several years ago, after like 7 years of trying everything possible that she possibly can. And I can remember talking to her one time, and I said to her, and she just was such, I'll never forget the first time she told me, and she said, you know, like, for the first time in my life, I can put everybody else's issues on the back burner, and I can take care of myself. And she did. And I can remember she started doing all these things that she wanted to do in the world. Like, she, like, you know, went places she had never gone. She learned to scuba dive. She started going to places like islands in the Caribbean that she had never been to before. She started dressing differently. I can remember her clothes were, I mean, she didn't really change a lot about herself, but like, I can remember, like, one time I saw her and she had this huge, like, camouflage ski coat on it. It was like with this pink liner, and she had always before that been very kind of subdued dresser. And, you know, she tried a lot of different foods and different things. And she's like, I just want to experience everything about life. And I remember one time talking to her about, you know, the idea of being a survivor, being a victim. And she's like, I don't even really like those words if you want to know the truth. She's like, I think it's fine if other people choose to use those words. She's like, they can do whatever they want. She's like, but for me, she said, I'm just trying to live through life. And she was like, I feel like those words kind of label me into a certain kind of existence. And she's like, I don't want to be labeled into that. She's like, whatever my doctor suggests, I try. I'm doing my best. And, you know, and she was just such an exemplary example of living life to the best and not being like, this isn't fair, the cards weren't dealt in my, and I don't know how I would react in that situation. I don't think probably anywhere near as well as she did. She handled it with such grace, right? And was such a teacher in those moments to people by not even trying to teach them, but just by how she was living her life. And I have such admiration and respect for people that are teachers to others just by the example of how they live their life. So when I say about people that victimize themselves or make themselves the victims, I'm not saying, like it says in here, it's not saying that you haven't been victimized, okay? It's not saying that you haven't gone through horrific abuse or trauma or horrible things in a marriage, or that you haven't dealt with narcissists or people that are manipulators all your life, or that you've been put in really difficult situations, whether it's a work situation or a family situation or a romantic relationship or with friend groups or whatever. It's not to say that you haven't been traumatized, that you haven't been victimized. It's about changing that mindset and taking your power back to say, I'm the one that writes my own story. It doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks about me out there or what they believe about me out there. At the end of the day, with me, like my friend, when she passed, yeah, she was surrounded by friends and family that loved her. I know that. I heard from the women that she had all these really great, dear friends that they met like once a week for lunch and traveled together. They were all around her. Her daughter and her son were there. Her husband was there. But in the end, you know, I think we all go on our own, and it doesn't really matter. It's nice if people think nice things about us, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't even matter if those things are true or false, you know? It matters how we feel inside. And I think her saying that she didn't like those words because it labeled her into a corner. And I can remember she said, share this with other people. Please share my story with other people, because I want people, you know, to learn what I've had to learn the hard way. I can remember her saying that to me. And, you know, I said to her, I just don't know how you keep such a smile on your face. And she's like, what are my options? She's like, I don't really have any other options. She's like, you know, I just sit in a corner in the room and cry all day long about what has been handed to me. My life's going to go by slowly anyway, or I can make the most of it. I think that's what I'm talking about when we make ourselves victims of situations that we can't change, right? It's not to say that you weren't victimized or I wasn't victimized or that my friend wasn't a victim of these horrible circumstances by having breast cancer, or that people out there that there's not everybody out there has gone through horrible shit, right? Like, it's not, I hardly ever cuss on this channel. It's not saying that. It's saying the mentality that you choose to go forward through in life. Reclaim your power, write your own story, take it back. We only have one life. One life. It is not lost on me very often that I should not even be here, right? You know, just a couple years ago, I mean, I was in this horrific accident. I shouldn't be here. Other people passed away. I should not be here right now. I cannot squander time. I have to live in each moment. I don't want to spend that time being, woe is me. This is so unfair. I have an amazing life. You know, there's a lot. I mean, I have a wonderful, amazing partner, my husband. I have a dog that I love that he hasn't been doing great, but he's doing okay today. And today is what matters. I have friends that love me. I have neighbors that love me. You guys watch my videos. I get to work from home and make videos on anything that I want to make it on, you know? I get to order coffee off of Amazon and watch TV shows. I get to listen to audiobooks and play solitaire and hang out with my friends every once in a while. I have a wonderful life. Sure, there are things that I wish hadn't happened to me in my life. Sure, I wish there were things that I had in my life. Sure, I wish things were different. Do I complain about stuff from time to time? Absolutely. That's why I dog-eared this. Because I need to be reminded of that. When I start getting into complaining, it's like my friend Tanya says, get into the solution, not the problem. Get out of the problem and get into the solution. And I need to remind myself of that. That's why these meditations help me so much. It's why I have 20 or 30 of these books. To remind me of these things that I already know, you know? It's not about what has happened to us in our lives. I think to go through those things, I talk a lot about being bullied, and I think sometimes people misunderstand that. They think, oh, you're stuck in it. I'm not stuck in it. I'm working through it. I'm still working through it. And I want to understand how that affected my life. I want to understand how what I went through. That's why I'm doing a trauma narrative over bullying in therapy right now. I want to understand how what happened to me, starting at ages 5 or 6, all the way through high school, and even today, how that affects who I am today. How I interact with the world, because then when I understand that, maybe I can interact differently with the world. Maybe I can respond differently to the world instead of being reactionary. You know, I've had to learn that through a lot of different things. And some of those things I'm resistant to. And I do complain. I'm a complainer. I'm a complainer through and through, but I don't want to be. Complaining takes away the joy. I think sometimes, like, I had a friend of mine years and years and years ago, still friends with her today, and she's a completely different person. She got married, she had a kid. I think everything changed for her. But I remember she was just kind of like, she kind of was, I mean, this is like 20 years ago, but like, she was having friends leave her left and right. And I remember she said to me, I don't understand what everybody's issue is with me. And I said, you know, at some point along the way, and she just would complain, like snarky, sarcastic complaining, like we all do, you know? I mean, I have rant videos I do on my drama channel where it's a joke, and sometimes people don't get that. They're like, I thought you were about gratitude. I'm like, this is a joke, okay? You know, but I can remember like her, she started off just being kind of like sarcastic and funny, and then it turned into like, that was just who she was. And I said, you know, I think somewhere along the way, you thought it was cute and funny to be a bitch, but I think along the way, you kind of caught on and you like liked that attitude. And she was like, I do. She's like, and she said to me, it feels powerful to kind of be a bitch. She used those words. And I said, but see, people don't really like that. They don't want to be around that. People, you know, and she goes, I know, but I don't know how to get through to the other. I don't know. Like, that's just how I deal with things in my life. And I said, but you've been through some tough stuff in your life. And she's like, I have. And she's like, and I think that's the way that I deflect it. She's like, I put on this smile and I laugh and I make sarcastic jokes about stuff. And I said, well, maybe that's how you continue to deal with it. But at some point, maybe you have to decide whether or not that's who you still want to be. And she's not that person today. And we really haven't had a lot of conversations about what changed it. I know she lost a lot of friends along the way, you know, and I know she's got great friends today. And she's got me as a friend, and I consider her a dear friend, and I love her dearly. But, you know, I think that you have to decide whether or not, I mean, I've had people in my life, and for rightfully so reasons, they went through some horrific shit in their life. You kind of cussed a lot over here. You know, that they constantly stay in victim mode of like, if this happened to you, it's like in recovery, we say, if this happened to you, you drink too. If you had my life, you drink too. Okay, well, there's a lot of horrible stuff that happens out there in the world, you know? I remember watching the movie Precious, and I thought, I've heard this story. I mean, that was bad, right? But in the rooms of recovery, I've heard people tell stories of abuse 100 times worse than that. And not just one or two, but hundreds of people tell that story. Somebody out there has a worse story than you do. How do you choose to live through your life? Do you choose to live through your life as a victim or taking the power back and writing your own story? Today, I choose to write my own story. I love you guys so much, and I hope you're doing okay. And if you're not, you will get through this. Trust me. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.